case study, Parliament and Court System in Malaysia, a study of function and jurisdiction. I am AMIRA NATASYA binti MOHAMMAD BAHARUDDin.
I am LISSA binti ELIAS.
I am NAFISAH binti BADELI.
I am NURJEHA binti ROSDI.
Assalamualaikum. My name is AMIRA NATASYA from TASY 1104A. We'll start the presentation with introduction. Malaysia practices parliamentary democracy with a constitutional monarchy that established by legislation in the federal constitution where His Majesty the King has the paramount rule. It was based on the federation system where the given legislative authority is subjected to the doctrine of separation of powers between the federal, which is parliament, and state assembly. The civil laws in this country was conducted and controlled by Malaysia's parliament, while the state's legislation established all the Islamic laws. First issue related to the study of function and jurisdiction of parliament and court system in Malaysia is about the revocation of 16 provisions of the Kelantan Syariah Enactment. As we know, 16 statutes of Kelantan Syariah Criminal Court were deemed void and invalid by the Federal Court on 9 February 2024 in an Act 1 ruling by the 9-member bench. This law included sections that have sexual harassment, sodomy, and another 14 statutes. According to Chief of Justice Tengku MOHAMMAD, who delivered the majority ruling, Kelantan lacked the authority to pass laws because the topic covered by the provision fell beyond the purview of Parliament's legislative authority. She also stated, "We therefore allow the petition's application for a declaration that this law are void and invalid." Islamist Party PAS also warned that the case might negatively affect the nation's Sharia legal system and urged the government to amend the constitution to fortify the Islamic judiciary and law. Factor that caused the issue is because there is ambiguity in the name schedule state and federal list, wherein item 4 subsection H of the federal list has provided for federal power to enact criminal laws. Meanwhile, item 1 of the state list empowered the state legislature to enact criminal legislation against the teaching of Islam, and it is not included in the federal list. The lack of clarity of the phrase can lead to overlapping criminal provisions that have been enacted at the federal and state level. There are implications that occur as a result of the ambiguity in the name schedule under the federal list and the state list, where there is an overlap of the limits of jurisdiction of federal and state criminal jurisprudence. As a result, in the provision of Sharia crime, which are seen to overlap with the provision at the level of federation, will be null and void as stipulated under Article 75 of the Federal Constitution.
I will present about solution to avoid revocation of 60 provision of Kelantan Syariah Enactment, the second issue interference in judicial decision, and lastly, the factor behind the judicial crisis 1988. First slide is the solution to avoid revocation of 60 provision of Kelantan Syariah Enactment. To prevent the revocation of this provision, two main solutions are proposed. First, amending the Sharia Code Act 1965 to enhance its punishment with civil law standard considering the difference in evidence and proof method. Second, improving judicial review in the civil court to ensure the adherence with Sharia principle, with the appointment of the Sharia court judge as principal advisor in judicial panels. Next is the second issue with interference in judicial decision in crisis 1988. The 1988 judicial crisis marked a significant breach of the separation of power where executive interference undermined judicial independence. This includes the removal of Chief Justice Tun Saleh Abbas and two Supreme Court judges, Tan Sri Wan Sulaiman and Datuk Judge Sim, due to conflict between the judicial and Prime Minister authority. Next slide is about the factor behind the judicial crisis 1988. The judicial crisis was rooted in executive interference with judge dismissed for ruling unfavorable to the government, such as the UMNO ban in 1987. This undermined judicial independence, highlight tension between the judicial and the executive, and raised serious concern about the judiciary ability to function impartially and freely interpret law.
My name is Nafisah binti BADELI. I will talk the impact of the second issue. During the 1988 judicial crisis, the Malaysian courts lost a lot of trust. The judiciary, which should be independent, appeared to be controlled by the government, led by the Prime Minister. This hurt its reputation. High-ranking judges like Chief Justice Tun Saleh Abbas and others were fired. and many believe this was punishment for court rulings that did not support the ruling party UMNO. As a result, people began to lose faith in the legal system, thinking judges could not make a fair decision without political pressure. And the solution to avoid interference in judicial decision is to ensure a fair and trustworthy legal system. Judges must make decisions free from political pressure. Any allegation of misconduct should be investigated by an independent group of legal experts, not the government or political parties. This protects judicial independence and maintains public trust. Issues should be addressed directly with the Chief Justice, ensuring no outside interference and reinforcing the separation of power between the executive, legislature, and judiciary. And then the third issue is misunderstanding between the power of parliament and state legislatures. The federal constitution divides law making powers between parliament and state legislatures, as outlined in the 9th schedule, to prevent overlap. However, confusion arises when state-level Sharia criminal laws appear to intersect with parliament's powers. State legislatures can make laws on matters related to Islam, like religious offences as confirmed by the Sulaiman Terengganu case in 2009. These include Sharia laws which are under the jurisdiction of the state's Sharia court. To clarify the Sharia court's role, the 1965 Sharia Court Act was passed, outlining it is authority over matters related to Islamic law.
The factor of this misunderstanding between the power of parliament and the state legislative, which is done, is the ambiguity in interpreting the non-schedule and Article 74 of the Federal Constitution. In criminal law enforcement, this uncertainty result in overlapping jurisdiction and creating confusion about the limits of authority. This result in the state legislative bodies enacting laws that blur the lines between state and federal legislative powers, particularly in areas concerning. As for the impact from the issue of misunderstanding between the power of parliament and state legislature is it can interrupt the functioning of a federal system, leading to legal, political, and administrative challenges. For example, this misunderstanding led to the efforts from interested parties to defy the validity of Sharia criminal legislation by taking into an institutional factor. However, most of the disparities and division in the field of legal power between parliament and the state actually stem from the ambiguity in the constitution itself. For the solution of the issue is by conducting discussion between the federal and national government, because it is very important. This can help to align the basics, especially in issues that involve both parties, such as resource management, economic development, and also social welfare. If they do not cooperate with each other, it is likely that conflict will arise that will lead to errors in the implementation of the law. As for the conclusion, Malaysian legal law faces challenges in jurisdictional boundaries, especially in Sharia law. Issues that happen highlight the need for a clearer definition, and a proposed solution include a constitutional amendment and enhanced judicial review process. It is also underscored the need for reforms to protect judiciary autonomy, clarify power separation, and strengthen judiciary independence to maintain public confidence.